A Chinese warship is cut in front of an American destroyer in an unsafe manner in the Taiwan Strait. US and Canadian navies had been conducting a routine exercise when the warship came within 130 metres of the destroyer. It's pretty close. The actions of the Chinese ship violated maritime international waters rules of the road. China has blamed America, though, for purposely causing risk in the region. Its defence minister believes America should stay out of the region.
What's the point of going there? What does it have to do directly with your interests?
Let's bring in Dave Sharma now for a look at this. Dave, hello, good to see you. Chinese warships, within 100 or so metres of an American destroyer. How inflammatory and hostile is that?
Well, it's very aggressive, Peter, and it's very dangerous as well because the more close calls like this you have, the greater the risk of an accident, and an accident can spiral out and lead to all sorts of unintended consequences if there's loss of life. So the People's Liberation Army is playing a very dangerous game here, that very close passage to a US warship exercising its right to freedom of navigation on the international high seas, but also a number of incidents in the air that we've seen in recent weeks. The United States complained about an incident on the 26th of May where a jet traversed about 400 or 350 metres in front of one of its own jets and again forced it to fly in that jet's wake. These are all very dangerous and aggressive incidents. But as China's Defence Minister Li Shangfu made clear in the Shangri-La dialogue in Singapore over the weekend, China intends to continue with this. They don't see a right to freedom of operation and freedom of navigation by the United States or other countries in waterways or airways close to the mainland of China.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you then. I mean, we just heard from the Defence Minister from China a short time ago. His response was to turn it back on the Americans. Mind your own business, take care of your own people. Do the Americans have right of way here, though? It's international waters after all.
They do. I mean, it's pretty clear under the UN Convention of the Law of the Sea, and there's no other country that offers a different interpretation here. These are not territorial waters. These are not within 12 nautical miles of a country's mainland. They are international waters where ships and commercial traffic and tankers and freighters and everything else have always enjoyed the right of freedom of navigation. It's important to note here that US naval vessels are not militarily engaged. They're conducting peacetime operations. They're not targeting assets in China. This is not a wartime situation. And in non-wartime situations, these normal rules are meant to apply.
Yeah, this all comes to, I mean, it's slightly unrelated, but you've got the Prime Minister, Anthony Albanese. He's been in Vietnam and, he's spoken quite strongly over the weekend, I thought, with regards to miscalculation and the problems and dangers that will emerge in the event of conflict in our region. How do you marry that up with this recent incident and an uptick in tensions, I suppose, lately?
Look, they're irreconcilable, to be honest with you, Peter. I mean, China, they might worry about miscalculation, but for them, their bigger concern is having any foreign presence within their first island chain, if you like, within their close maritime borders and waterways. So they will take the risks of miscalculation, and they're pushing back against any attempts by the US or Australia or others to establish so-called guardrails. They're not interested. They think the best guardrail is to get Western forces out of the Western Pacific. And clearly that's not going to happen because that means that we, not only do we forego the security of places like Taiwan, Japan, Korea, the Philippines, but it also, that's the end of the Western-led global order. That's the end of the international laws on the high sea. That's the end of the liberal rules-based order.
Good to see you, Dave. We'll chat to you again soon.